So this topic is going to be taking a deeper dive into how movesets work if they were actually in the game. But the whole subject is going to be me giving my personal take about how limit bursts should work in PvP and PQs. In my perspective, limit burst should be a surge mechanic like how it is in Kakarot for PvP, and when it comes to raids, PQs, and expert missions, it can stay the exact same as it is now. The reason why I believe it should be like Kakarot surge is to give more flair to the fights, to make things more strategic, and to actually give more depth into movesets like how it functions in Kakarot, instead of it being a thing that you can use to interrupt someone's well-deserved stamina break after dealing with someone who's been constantly playing cheap throughout the whole match. Now, you're probably wondering how I think a surge mechanic would work in a game like XV2, so this section will be dedicated to explaining that. So in a PvP setting, the limit burst button should be a button that you can hold down until your key overcharges, just like how it does in dbzkakarot, right? With a cool animation of your CAC or character you're playing as in a fight, either referencing the moveset that they're using because they're a custom partner, or the moveset that they're borrowing from if they're a CAC. And since movesets are a thing in this game in this scenario, the moveset you had originally will change into one with more cinematic camera angles based on your choice of surge, while also slightly increasing and extending the amount of combo time, and also slightly increasing the amount of damage you do, but only for a limited amount of time, just like it also does in dbzkakarot. And once the time runs out, if you find more time to overcharge again, then you can do all that again. And how you get these surge movesets will be through all the custom partners in the game, by playing through a new training session with all of them after you completed all the previous ones, to give more variety and more differentiation, in giving your CAC overall more flair and personality to them. Just like how I mentioned in previous videos when it came to, changing colors and changing auras for custom characters, like this alone would just add on to that much more. They can also be available through raids, parallel quests, and festival of universes to give people a reason to actually play these game modes a lot more often. Because I don't really see the appeal in playing raids and festival of universes, and even parallel quests to a certain degree. I don't see the appeal in it because the rewards are just not enticing enough or not different enough. The only times that you would even want to play the raids in the game is to either unlock a loading screen or a super soul or an accessory alongside some TP medals and the title that goes with it. And to me, that's not enough. Like, I feel like surge movesets or movesets in general should be something that everybody can unlock just by playing the raid, just to constantly give people reasons to actually want to continuously play the raid over and over and over again with their friends. Because who would not want like movesets or surge movesets to be in the game to give them leverage in battle, or just to give them a new thing that they want for their CACs? The same thing with Festival of Universes. Festival of Universes, majority of the time you're either playing it to unlock an aura that you can only equip in the lobby, or you're unlocking colorable clothes for CACs, when the entire concept of coloring clothes in the game has existed in Xenoverse 1 all the way back then, and it existed in the beginning of Xenoverse 2 as well. It's the same thing with custom partner skills that you can only get for custom partners, by the way, because those skills aren't available for CACs. So you're either playing that mode to unlock all of that for custom partners, and even then, majority of the ones that are in the game that are just festival attacks, that are either super attacks, are already existing combo animations pasted into the super attack. And parallel quests have the things that they have, but at the same time, there needs to be more than what we've been constantly getting. And I don't think that's enticing enough to make people want to play the game mode a lot more. Especially, and the same thing goes with raids too. Raids don't have the things that Festival of Universes has in terms of rewards, but at the same time, integrate surge movesets to make people want to play those game modes more. And then since they're like higher tier rewards in this scenario, why don't you bump the difficulty up when it comes to the raids and the parallel quests specifically? Because the raids and how they work, the parallel quests and how they work the same way that they've worked before, and they have the rewards that they have. But what if they add like a more difficult parallel quest with a new reward called Surge movesets that does everything that I just explained previously? And it's also an additional way to give you leverage in battle while also giving your CAC a lot more flair and stuff like that, right? But the DLC parallel quest is a lot more difficult, right? And then it even has the cross versus AI that you can fight against. And then once you try to play it yourself, you realize that it's a little bit more difficult for you to fight in. So you call up, your friends and be like, can you help me out with this parallel quest? I'm trying to unlock the surge moveset. Are you trying to do that as well? And they're like, yeah, I want to do that too. Because I've been having trouble with trying to beat this parallel quest. So I want to work together and see if we can get this done together. Just like how it was for Final Battle before the Final Battle, right? Because when that DLC came out, that DLC parallel quest had meditation, power rush available for unlocking and stuff like that. But because you had to beat so many enemies at the same time, and the timer nearly ran out, or you just didn't have enough damage on your character, or it was so many different things working together that made that parallel quest difficult back then. So they could bring that back in some instance and just up the difficulty when it comes to unlocking surge movesets or just more things in general. In terms of surge movesets as well, there can also be a preview of what the surge animation looks like before you choose the one that you want, as well as a brief description of what the surge moveset is based off of and the effects that come with it. Now, with the extra effects that Limitverse comes with when you activate it, like auto health recovery, auto just guard, attack up, insert name of attack here, attack up, that kind of thing. All the extra effects that come when you activate this mechanic, right? The extra effects that I would remove are attack up in this case, because again, as I stated before, the Limitverse Surge moveset already gives you a slight attack boost, and I feel like giving more attack on top of that is just not necessary. So that's one thing that I would remove. And the other one is, again, Super Armor Limit Burst, because there's literally no soul in PvP that likes fighting anyone with Super Armor. Now, I would keep all the different Limit Burst types in the game, but probably nerf them a little bit, especially for the ones that are catered to making certain super attacks and ultimates do more damage. Plus, in this scenario, the Limit Burst Surge is already giving you more benefits than what a normal Limit Burst would be in this scenario, so it would make more sense to, nerf those things a little bit, not by a whole lot, but just by a bit, so that way it's not exploitative when it comes to people using it against other people online. In terms of adding additional Limit Burst types, I would probably go for one that's only designed to make your ki recover faster and to make you temporarily take less damage for as long as the Limit Burst Surge is on. Now, the ki recovery one, again, is very simple. I just took away the attack up part and just made the ki recovery the basic thing or the main thing that does, right? It can temporarily recover more ki as the Limit Burst Surge keeps going on. And the same thing with damage reduction, because damage reduction is also part of Super Armor, but the difference here is that it only gives you damage reduction. You can still get staggered, but you temporarily take less damage for as long as the Limit Burst Surge is on. Those would be the additional effects that I would add to the Limit Burst Surge, if it was actually a thing in the game. This could also extend out to all the different races in the game, like Saiyans, Majins, Namekians, Friezas, etc., to having their own Surge exclusive moveset that's only exclusive to them that no one else can have, and to actually further give you a reason to play all the different races in the game and give them a try. The raids in Festival of Universes and even Parallel Quests could add more race-exclusive Surge movesets for your CACs, or just more Surge movesets in general for roster characters, so that way variety and differentiation can continue to keep expanding with this game, and there's so many different various ways to make things happen in the game when it comes to customization. This idea alone, when it comes to that, would make customization for CACs and roster characters way more apparent. Way more apparent. Also, if this idea was real in the actual game, it gives a lot of Also, if this idea existed in the actual game, it gives a lot of cool thumbnail potential, and you can get a lot of awesome shots for your CACs. Imagine a dbzkakarot style thumbnail, but it's just your CAC doing a Limit Burst Surge animation. And you took that specific frame of them in that exact pose with all of the effects and everything, and then you make that a thumbnail. I find it impossible to say no to that. Now, the reason why Limit Burst should stay the way that it is in a normal game in raids, PQs, and expeditions, etc., is because when you use it in that instance, it's quick, it doesn't freeze the gameplay when someone uses it, and the buffs that you get from it apply to everybody in the lobby. Because if you think about it, if Limit Burst worked like how Kakarot's Surge mechanic worked, then it would get pretty annoying to have the gameplay constantly freeze when someone uses it in that scenario. So it's probably best to keep it the same how it is now in raids and PQs and excerpt missions, because in that particular instance, it's convenient for everybody, and then you can even keep all the limit burst types that you have without changing or taking out some other attributes that they already have, like attack up, key recovery, the super armor one, the damage reduction on top of that. Like, you can keep all of that for the raid aspect of it, and the PQs and the parallel quest and all that extra stuff. Now, when it comes to 2v2s and 3v3s, limit burst should work like how Kakarot Surge works still, except for when you use it, the cool startup animation only shows up for the person in the lobby, and everyone isn't forced to look at the animation as well. The buffs that you get from the limit burst surge should only apply to one person who uses it, so that way everyone in the lobby isn't forced to look or share one limit burst surge. Now, before you say, isn't this idea taken away from Kakarot too much, don't you think? I mean, it shouldn't be, because the entire concept of Limit Burst and how it functions was inspired from Fighters when it came out as a free update back in Extra Pack 2 in 2018. The only difference is that with the sparking mechanic, you can only use it while not being hit, and you can also combo into it as well. But with Limit Burst, you can use it while being hit or without being hit, but you can't combo into anything with it. And it also gives you extra effects on top of that. So it's not impossible for them to borrow existing concepts from other games and add some different things to the mechanic that they're trying to take inspiration from and implement it into the game in their own style. It also further expands upon CAC customization, because I gave it to every single race in the game, and them having their own exclusive surge moveset to give you a reason to actually play all the different CACs in the game. But they clearly aren't big fans of that, even though that's the entire point of this game when they keep adding everything but new features for CACs.